And one of the greatest things to go see when you're in South Dakota is Mount Rushmore. And I had explained at the beginning of the show, I grown up in a dominant black community, and so I had always felt like I fit right in. And one of the things me and one of my closest friends had discussed was if the United States was ever to make a national monument with the magnitude of Mount Rushmore, and we were going to put 4 black heads on it, who would be the most influential black people of our time that would go on a national monument of that size? Now, so here shortly, we should be joined by another friend of mine named Rashar that runs the Grant County, Indiana news station. He went to sit in on this as well, but we can always just add him to the discussion. Get him up to date when he gets here. He had an appointment this morning, so he told me he was going to be a little late.
Are you going to get to the topic? Because, man, you're really making me fall asleep.
A few moments later.
Sick of you already.
Come on.
Sick of you.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Hey, everybody. Say bye-bye to Jeremy. See ya. Hey, when you got the control, that's what you can do.
But the only thing is I can do the exact same thing, and he knows it.
Hey, I'm the leader of this show, punk.
Hey, don't start with me. You're only half the leader.
Wow.
Well,
Rod. That was deep cut.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Bang,
Shots fired.
Hey, that's why I'm throwing the peace flag.
Yeah.
Peace flag.
No, that's your snot rag.
Shut up.
Wow.
I have the flu. Deal with it. So, Raj, give me the first head that comes to your mind that should go on
your head.
Yeah, a first head that should go on your head. See, it's early for me too, Jay.
I think it's 4 o'clock in the morning for POD's brain.
It is. It is.
So the first person.
I'm going to go ahead and guess Martin Luther King.
Well, actually, I think the first person would be Harriet Tubman.
Ooh.
Okay.
I agree on that one.
Okay.
For those in the listening audience that aren't sure who Harriet Tubman is, could you give us a little history?
Yeah, she's the one that helped with a lot of slaves to be freed at the risk of being killed and jail time and all that kind of stuff back in the slavery days. She had, she was fearless, very smart. And she led a lot of slaves to freedom. A lot.
Yes. The other evening, when I was speaking to a Black history teacher that I was so trying to get on this program, I had mentioned Rosa Parks, and I remember studying Rosa Parks. And right away, she said if it came down to Rosa Parks or Harriet Tubman, it would have to be Harriet Tubman. And because without Harriet Tubman, there'd have been no Rosa Parks,
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. Jay, first person that you would nominate for a Mount Rushmore style monument.
Well, first of all, I didn't know we were going to lead off so gangster with it because Harriet Tubman was a shoot, stabby kind of with like there was no and here's the crazy part. Like a lot of people we and I'll give you mine in a second here. I just want to understand a lot of times when it comes to Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks and a few other black, we constantly romanticize and like the good part, and we forget that if you didn't go with Harriet Tubman, you might have died that day. Nah, Harry, I ain't going. Bang, like, oh, dang, I'm gonna go. Man, this thing is so great over here. I didn't even know he was that serious. But my choice, I mean, since we're going so hard with it, my next choice after that would have to be Marcus Garvey. because he was like yo, like if you yeah, like if you was like really with it, he was with the smoke. He was like with every bit of smoke, and he was like, and then when we get done messing it up over here, then we going back to Africa. Like, yo, chill, bro. Hold on. I don't know if I want to do all that. But so yeah, he was definitely with the smoke. He was about the war. I mean, he fought mentally and physically. Just not even for anything specific, just to get Black folks to see, what they really were. That's what the problem. It was like, we were slaves for such a long time. It would be, and it's like in that time where slavery was just ending and we're getting into the civil rights stuff and everything. And Marcus Garvey was like, hey, y'all come from kings, man, and I will die to prove that to you. So I would go with Marcus Garvey after Harry Tubman. You got to go Marcus Garvey after that.
That's very interesting. That's
Didn't even know anything about that.
I didn't either. I take that back. I take that back. I have heard of Marcus Garvey. I just didn't realize and think of the depth, which is an interesting piece of there as well. When people mention Martin Luther King, I think a lot of people mention Martin Luther King as the first go-to because modern time.
Well,
no disrespect to anything Martin Luther King did. Fight for the civil rights and everything. But I think a lot of the reason people right away say his name when you bring up foreheads for the Black community is because modern times. Martin Luther King has not been gone from us that long. But in various conversations that I've had over the last couple weeks leading into this episode, it's amazing some of the people that get brought up that are from our past that just mind blowing what they've done for the.
An AI program that I typed it into actually picked Martin Luther King Jr. instead of King himself. I don't know why.
Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King Jr., wasn't he?
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah, okay, I was wondering.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering.
I had to think about that just for a second.
And
then, Senior was a regular Joe.
I don't know if you guys like this pick, but it's up to you. It said Barack Obama being ahead.
No comment.
No comment.
Well, I mean, even if discuss. I when Barack Obama first ran for president the first time, I really enjoyed listening to him speak. I enjoyed what he was at least claiming he was going to offer. So I was definitely on that bandwagon at first. Can't say that I'm on that bandwagon now, but there again, everybody has their opinions, and we love to hear them all.
That's why Cowboy even said we love being in America. We have a right, and without even getting angry at each other. I mean, come on, we should be able to talk freely.
Yes, I can see why many would say Barack, but now the question is, would he qualify though?
I don't know.
And the reason I say that is because doesn't he have a white mother? Can someone help me with that?
Was his grandmother?
His grandmother?
Yeah, I can't remember. Is it the mom or grandmother?
But he does have white heritage, correct?
Yeah, there's a little white heritage. I mean, that doesn't really. Yeah, everybody does. Thanks to Thomas
Jefferson.
Thanks to that guy. Everybody's got a little bit of white in them. He was busy.
Everybody got a little something.
So he was the pimp of the gang, huh?
Dude, he was like, we've all seen the Django, right?
What?
We've all seen the Django.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. I really like that.
Yeah. He daddy. That's him. He was daddy. That daddy big house. That was him. I would put Barack Obama. I would put him on money and a T-shirt, maybe hats or something like that. Maybe a statue. But as far as like the monument for Black people, I would have to say no, and not for any reason other than the fact is that his presidency, and this is why I voted for him, his presidency. As I feel that black folks, we should have took that as a symbol and nothing really more. And I say that because for me, voting for him, and I voted both times for the exact same reason, because it gives my younger bunch that's coming up behind me an opportunity to say, "Hey, look, now they ain't gotta want to be president, but it's just like saying, like, oh, but if he way up there, I can get up there too." So I want folks to see that, as far as his policies and all that stuff go. Yeah, I literally voted for because he was a black guy, and I say it every time. Literally because he was a black guy. I didn't. It
was an AI program, so I mean, you never know. Computers aren't that smart.
I don't know. I mean,
they go on algorithms.
I'm hoping my friend Rashard makes it, but one of the other ones that he discussed, and I look forward to hearing him discuss it when he gets in there, is Malcolm X. I know very, very little about Malcolm X, but I'm willing to listen. Steve's almost step off the stage for a minute.
I would say definitely yes to Malcolm X.
Really?
Yeah, I would probably make him like the last one. I can't say I know a ton about Malcolm X. I mean, most of what I know is from the book and from the from the movie. So, but once again, it was his show of strength that would make him up there, because even in the knowing that his own mosque is trying to get him, the CIA's after him, the FBI is looking after him. Who knows who else is checking for him? Local government don't like him. Other black folks don't like him. And in the face of all that, he still was like, "Yeah, but you know what? Y'all got to get better." Like even if you don't like me, that's fine. But check this out. And he still went and he spoke, and he spoke on two sides. And once again, a lot of folks don't put this into perspective. He spoke on both sides. When he first came in, it was down with Whitey. That's cool. We was in a position, there was this time in the war where it was kind of like not a bad idea. And then when he made his trip to Mecca and came back, it was a little less white hate. It was more black pride, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not, I don't want you guys to always just don't be mad at them. We got to fix us. That's what he was at when he came back. It's like we got to pull ourselves together. So, so I would definitely put Malcolm X in there.
What are your opinions?
I think he would be a good candidate because, like Mr. Coldwater said, I think he was the first person to show us that we need to have a mind of our own and to research on our own and not just follow what a leader tells us to do.
Yeah.
Because once he did go to Mecca and found out that all white people weren't the devil and that we have to just hate all white people, that went against the agenda of what was going on with that movement at the time. Like Mr. Coldwater said, you can't blame everybody else for your lack of improvement, self-improvement. He always said, look, you got to get up and you got to read, you got to think for yourself, you got to research yourself. You can't just believe what someone tells you. And you have to be willing to stand up against even your own people, because right is right and wrong is wrong. He made us accountable for our actions or the lack thereof. And instead of just sitting there, because like in the industry that Mr. Coldwater's in, when you talk about entertainment industry, that is not an easy industry. When you're a black minority, whatever, and you got so many undertones, where if you're not paying attention, you don't understand that a lot of doors close just for one simple fact, whether it's jealousy, your color, your male or female or what have you. And you got to be willing to not take everything personal. You have to have the ability to be like, you know what, maybe they close this door, but it's not going to stop me. We are in the world, so now where it's like, if our kids start off, if the reason why you're not going to make it is because of the color of your skin. Well, if that was the mindset of the people before us, we wouldn't be where we are now. And Malcolm X was the one who's like, ain't nobody gonna stop me. We can take care of ourselves. We can be self-sufficient and stop relying on everybody else to take care of us.
That's cool. That's cool. So if it wasn't for Malcolm X, we probably wouldn't even have this podcast today. Honestly, just being serious. Because
he's one of the people that taught us to stand up and not be afraid. That we can. When it says we have a right to bear arms, that's everybody.
Yes, exactly. I agree.
Okay, I got a question for each of you. If you were to say one head that should go on it that probably the majority of Americans don't even know who this person is, who would you choose?
I'd choose Bass Reeves.
Okay, and Bass Reeves is?
Bass Reeves was considered the first Black U.S. Marshal. He was a slave. He ended up killing his slave owner and ran away. Ended up on the Indian reservation because white men couldn't go on the Indian reservation. He made a living by serving writs, which are called warrants now. He was one of the best U.S. Marshals ever. And as a matter of fact, the Lone Ranger, the TV show, is said to be created because of him. With me being in law enforcement, it kind of hits home to me because he was a law enforcement with integrity. And when I say that, he actually brought in his own son. His son killed his wife's lover. And there was a writ out for him, and none of the marshals like, we ain't touching his son because Bass Reeves is a bad boy. So Bass brought his own son in and said, look, face it, this is what happened. That's what law enforcement is supposed to be. It's supposed to be integrity. You're not supposed to just do things backhanded because it's a relative or because you know someone. And that is something that law enforcement should have always followed. But he was definitely a smart man. He would bring in multiple people. I think the most he brought in was like 9 or 10 people. And what he would do is he would capture someone. He would talk them into helping him catch the next person, and told him, I'll put in a good word that you help me. And he brought in like 9 or 10 people by himself. And no one else ever could do that. He was smart. He was very prideful. And like I said,
That's cool.
The Lone Ranger, and the belief is the Black Mass that the Lone Ranger wore was a symbolic of Bass Reeves being black, because back then you couldn't have a black leading actor on TV.
Oh, that's very. That is.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay, if you were going to pick somebody that was an unknown, who would you choose?
First of all, good pick, Cowboy. I just learned about Bass Reeves myself recently. My understanding is that the Lone Ranger was supposed to be about him, but because, like you said, they can't have a black man. So yeah, I just learned about that guy, and they got a movie about him too. Just came out. Yeah.
There's a movie, and then they have a series too.
Is it a series? I know the movie came out. That's what made me research him a little further. Yeah, that guy is pretty amazing. But my guy, he's a name that doesn't really get brought up too much, and that's and I had to look him up because of the Boondocks to make sure I was going to say the right name. Is Huey Newton. The creator and leader of the Black Panther movement. Once again, another leader who was actually exuding real leadership. Like, he instituted a lot of programs within the inner city in the Oakland area. Food programs, tutoring for kids. you mess around with the Black Panther Party, you learn a little bit of karate. You learned about guns. He's the person that when I started to learn more about Huey, I started paying attention closer to gun rights and gun laws and how they are formed, why they're formed, who makes them, and all that good stuff, and who benefits from them. And he made me think about that because during his time, it was anybody could have a gun except for Black people and brown folks. Y'all can't have guns because you guys are dangerous. And he was like, "No, I'm not dangerous. But if you put me in the position to be dangerous, I'm gonna be dangerous. So what do you want to do now, Mr. Law guy, Mr. Officer, Mr. Dude in the suit? What do you want to do now?" Because one of my favorite lines from him is, it was in the movie, so I don't know if it was actual line, but once again it solidified for me. Oh shit, I just said that. Was when he was standing in front of the officers and everyone had the shotguns, cops had shotguns, the Panther Party had shotguns, and the guy says, "I need to put that weapon down." And he goes, "Oh, it's not. It's not loaded, so it's not a weapon right now." And then he cocked it. He goes, "But it is now." And I was like, "Is that a real thing?" I went and Googled it, and I was like, "Oh wow, that is some serious stuff." So, life lessons we taught there. And the last thing I want to say is I just noticed that they actually put on here he assassinated August 22, 1989. There was a point when they locked him up, and while he was in prison, somehow got him. I don't know if he did it himself or it was presented to him and it happened, but he became addicted to heroin. And even then, while he was in his heroin high, he spoke a lot of knowledge that it got shunned because he was high on heroin. So, just a little education on how, they stopped, in my opinion, how it was an example, once again, for me to see how once they see a Black person that can, or just a person of color, period, who can move into a power position and gather his folks around him and get them in a position of power too. There are people out there that just don't want that. And it kind of sucks because those are the people that run our country. Go figure.
Yeah. The Black Panthers are responsible for the Meals on Wheels. That's where the Meals on Wheels came from, was a Black Panther.
Oh, that's
party.
so cool.
That's exactly where it came from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's where it came from.
That is awesome. Okay, so what athlete? If you were to put an athlete,
I was going to hold that for after commercial because, man, that was going to be a big topic. Let's take a quick break. But yes, I was going to do that too. I was thinking, when you think of Blacks that made an influence, look at these sports icons. I don't even think whites or any other could compete against what the Black community has brought us in sports. Take a quick break. Let's talk about that when we come back.
All right.
And we're back again.
So let's break this sports one into two categories.
Okay.
One, the most mainstream, and then the most unknown.
Like didn't get enough credit. Mainstream, I would have to. Because I'm a basketball nut, would have to say Michael Jordan.
Good one. I would have to go with Tyson. I like Tyson.
Jay, biggest influence sports wise.
Mainstream.
I gotta agree with you with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He changed playing basketball. He changed regular people's shoe game.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. So yeah, you want to talk about influential? Yeah, you got to go with Michael Jordan.
Okay. Shortcut.
I was gonna go with Jordan. I mean,
oh my God, we got three Jordans. That's a good one. Now, Cowboy, what is it?
I'm going with Dr. J.
Dr. J. But man, just sports overall, you got Muhammad Ali, Dr.
Yes.
J. You got Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. I could go on and on in basketball, as you can see.
Well, don't even.
Football.
We're going to be here forever.
One eternity later.
Muhammad Ali was the obvious one. I should have said that first. Honestly, he was amazing. He wasn't just, as you say, a shoe salesman. He was he did a lot for Black history. So.
Yeah, I usually go with some of the earlier people because of my age and growing up, watching them, make a pathway for the Tysons and the Jordans. They put up with all the bull crap, not being able to, whether it's use the same locker rooms, having to come into a different entrance from their team. They had to endure all that crap so that the Jordans and the Pippins and everybody else could just walk through, wearing dresses and high heels and carrying purses and all that crazy stuff.
Eric Stevenson brought up Jackie Robinson for that reason. Jackie Robinson being back in the days of, like you said, separate locker room, separate everything, and Jackie Robinson was a good pick for him.
So unknown. Who would you go for? Who's really, really unknown? Underrated. Sports icon. I personally don't know one. I'm just saying I'm out, but I would like to hear.
I think somebody that was an underrated star, in my opinion, Charles Barkley. Get some props up there for my cousin, who was a humongous Charles Barkley fan. Me and him used to discuss him a lot, and he just didn't get the. I mean, yeah, everybody knows who Charles Barkley is, but I just don't think he got the accolades that he deserved. Yeah, for basketball.
And this is my opinion, 101. I think the industry, whether you're black or white, if you say something out of their narrative and everything, you get canceled. And I think a lot of wonderful, awesome black people have been canceled because of the industry. If you speak out about something and they don't like it, you get the Bill Cosby treatment. You get you get outed like that. And he did. I feel like he did a lot for the black community and for all that stuff to come out about him. I think that was kind of focused. Whether it's true or not, only God knows. But I'm saying, in my opinion, I think that once he started speaking out about the colleges that he was funding and everything like that, he started. That's when all the stuff started coming out. It wasn't until he started speaking his mind and speaking out about stuff is when he started catching all the that bubble of protection all stars have comes off. Once you start talking, speaking out about the truth and about facts, that little bubble of protection that they put on you, and if they ain't got nothing on you, they make something up. They got you.
Okay. Well, that's so true, Shortcut. But the only problem is Bill Cosby's not in sports.
No, but I'm saying,
But he brought the Jello pop to us.
No, but I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that have done. It's like done good and speak the truth that get outed like that.
That is true. But what sports icon would you talk about? Who you think that was unrated? Who didn't get talked about enough? Who are you going to pick?
I think Bob Beamon. Bob Beamon was an Olympian in 1968.
Oh,
he long jumped 29 feet 2.5 inches.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that record lasted for years.
Yeah, recently, actually.
He could jump 35 innings.
Nice.
So he could jump 35 of our hosts that didn't make it innings.
Yeah,
he'd do really good in parkour.
29 feet, and he was a bad boy. Him and even Jesse Owens. because he was like at that time a big instrument to combat Germany even in sports.
Huh.
Because they used him to show that the United States was superior in not just the military but also in sports.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Which was odd.
in the world of music too. You go in the world of music and some. I mean, Michael Jackson. We left out Michael Jackson a little bit ago. I can actually see for what Michael Jackson was in the world of music. I can see him potentially being one of the four heads. Because my goodness, the things he made in the '80s for pop black music was just insane, and it was overnight. It was just. One day he was, you barely knew about you knew of Michael Jackson, but then it was the whole glitter glove, the Thriller jackets, the Beat It jackets, they were everywhere.
Once again, another artist that was beloved that once he started speaking out, they got focused in on and got the treatment.
Yeah.
So Jay.
So you also have to look at when the Mount Rushmore was done. So if we take it back to when Mount Rushmore was created, some of those people like Michael Jackson and stuff like that wouldn't be on there because, like we had talked about offline, because of the stuff that was in his personal history, they wouldn't put him up there because it was a bad look. So like when we talked about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks wasn't the first one who didn't get up out of her seat. There was another woman who refused to get up out of her seat, but they didn't use her because she had a child and wasn't married. So we are looking back in those times to make a decision on Mount Rushmore. A lot of the people that we picked today wouldn't have made it because we didn't want to put someone that would make us look bad or that would go against the Christian beliefs and all that kind of stuff. Like in the day, George Floyd wouldn't have been an icon.
Claudette
the female,
boy, who was that?
Claudette Colvin.
Her name, Claudette.
Jeff just said, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What was her last name, gentlemen?
Claudette what? Claudette Colvin. Colvin, Colvin, Colvin.
There you go.
All right, guys. Yep. Huh.
It's just so interesting.
So we skipped real quick. I got to hear it. I want to know what Mr. Coldwater's unrated super basketball athlete, whatever, is going to be.
Well, as we were talking, I just been thinking about a lot of different people, and I was thinking about Muhammad Ali, and I probably should have said him instead of Michael Jordan. But as far as the unknown guy, I'm going with Roy Jones. Simply on the fact of sheer tenacity.
Okay.
This man he went and he went out. Please forgive me. It's been such a long time since I've had this discussion. So if I get the belts mixed up, please forgive me. But he goes
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. But he goes for like the middleweight belt, and he's got the belt. He's running around, he's champion, he's undefeated, all this good stuff. And then some guy in a weight class above him says, because everybody's saying pound for pound, best boxer ever. This or something. There's a guy in a weight class above him who's like, well, I'm good too, and starts talking crap about Roy Jones. And all of a sudden, Roy Jones starts talking in third person. That, my friend, is the best, first of all. Second of all, he went and gained 20 pounds and went and beat that guy up, took his belt, came back down a weight class and got another belt. And it's like, dude, why? Why? It's like, now I'm the best. Now no one cannot say I'm the best boxer in the world. No one cannot say that because I went and I like that.
Now, are you talking about senior or junior, sir? Junior?
Junior, yeah, junior.
Okay.
Junior.
I've had the pleasure of meeting both of them. When I very first got into micro wrestling, way back when, one of my very first clients when I started the All LP Little People Wrestling Federation, was a gentleman in Pensacola, Florida that we called Big Daddy. And when Big Daddy brought us in, he told us, we were done with the show. He's like, I want you to meet a few of my friends. And we got to meet some of the wrestlers that lived down in that area, me and Rikishi and his family. And then we also met Roy Jones and his family. Really, really super group of people. Super group of people. Yeah, Roy Jones is definitely top of the line guy. Definitely top of the line guy. I would agree.
Yeah,
That's a good pick.
it's tough too.
So, music, real quick. You mentioned music, and you mentioned Michael Jackson. Is there going to be some others?
Well, absolutely. Prince. Look,
Well,
Prince is what I would love to
BB
see.
King.
Well, Prince, the reason I brought him up, I just recently learned this in a biography on Prince. Did you guys know that he used another name and wrote like so many songs out there for even country artists?
Mhm.
Prince
Yeah,
is
he wrote for
responsible for like
I had no clue.
so many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
do a little
definitely
research
a
Well,
on
he
that.
was notorious for changing his name. I mean,
But
Well,
what was
yeah,
neat
he
was
changed
he
his
had-
name so that he could get the rights to his music because the industry the industry is known for artists dying penniless because of the contracts,
right.
and so he refused to be a pawn and a puppet, and they're going to take all of his money from all the work that he's done. So he changed his name so that they could no longer have rights to his, they didn't have rights to his music.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
he when it came to that, he was an icon and got a lot of other artists who were afraid to be blackballed. Prince didn't care. Prince was a genius and he knew it.
Yes, he was.
Yes, I agree.
Most
Uh,
underrated guitar
Changed his
player
name.
ever. Most underrated guitar player ever. He is the best. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
he's the best. He's awesome.
Who,
What
Prince?
about Hendrix? Jimmy.
Yep.
I still got to go with Prince. So Prince was pretty awesome.
I mean,
Yeah, Hendrix.
I forget.
Oh,
There was I forget what the counter was. It was Tom Petty, Eric Clapton, and Prince, and it blew me away. Once they showed Prince on the guitar, I was stuck to the screen. I could not believe that. I was like, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's,
He
Prince,
really, yeah.
Prince had skills.
yeah.
Well, when I watched the biography, they were talking about like how many songs he had wrote for Kenny Rogers, and there
Mhm.
was several of the other artists out there. I just remember Kenny Rogers was one of them, and but I remember there were several artists that he had written for in the country label, and there were songs that I had recognized as they were mentioning them. Wow, he wrote it,
Yeah.
but he used another name during those, and just
Lionel
Yeah, what a
Richie helped it. Lionel Richie and Kenny Rogers got together, and it was 2 songs Lionel Richie had. No, it was 1 song, and they ended up making it into 2 songs. And it was "Lady," which was ended up being the song Kenny Rogers sang, and "Hello."
Mhm.
It was,
Mhm.
now, are you doing that off the top of your head, or are you Googling?
Oh, I wasn't googling on that one. I know that, but yeah, on the other stuff, I was gonna ask about the very first governor of California, black governor of California was. See, I had it. Tom Bradley. Yeah, see,
Okay.
that's my googling power. You knew if I was googling, because I'd be like,
Yeah, he looks really funny. Everybody, it's hilarious.
But Tom Bradley was the very first black governor in California. Anybody know about him?
I don't know much. Oh, hello.
Mr. Tyson makes it in the house.
What's
Happening,
going
buddy?
on, man?
You're late in the discussion,
Good
brother.
morning.
Where you
Good
been?
morning.
Handling business.
Well, welcome, my
Sorry.
friend. Good to have
What's
you.
going on?
We were discussing various black people that have changed the influence of America, and the 4 heads that would go on a national monument, and we come up with all kinds of different ideas, and it was such a wonderful history today. We had discussed also some of the black entertainers, and we were in the music world now. We were talking about Prince and Michael
Yeah.
Jackson.
We're
Would you
talking
like to
about
answer?
forehead. We're talking about forehead, not POD's forehead.
Yeah, it's
Well,
pretty
one
big.
call.
It'd be all four heads together.
Yeah.
But if you were going to talk about in the music industry, people that made a big difference in the black culture of music, who would you pick? I picked I picked Prince and Michael Jackson, and we've been discussing others. Tina Turner, that's the one I wanted to bring up.
I don't know. I would bring up James Brown.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah,
Yes.
I forgot about that. Dang.
Mhm.
It's a man's world.
Yep, I would bring up James Brown.
Yes.
Yeah, I like James.
Yeah.
That would
Well,
caught
so-
me off guard. I had to think about
so-
it. But James
Louis-
Brown, definitely one of them.
Since Rashard's a little late,
Louis
let's just talk to
Armstrong.
him for just a moment, real quick.
Let's get his all four heads that he would pick.
Okay, mine had nothing to do with music. I thought about
That's
it.
fine. That's fine.
I picked Nat Turner, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and Barack Obama.
Which we had discussed the other day. Yes. Yes.
All right.
I had to do a little history on Malcolm X over the last few days, Rashard, because although I knew the name,
Hey,
being honest, I did not know enough of the history on him. But yes, those are all picks we had discussed too.
Right
in
on.
the entertainment industry, we were talking about first started with the sporting world, some of the sporting people that had made it. And for those of you just tuning in, Rashard runs a TV station in Grant County, Indiana, channel 27 News. I don't know the exact website, but give me a second.
We're just on Facebook.
You're just on Facebook, but there's a page you can go to on it, right?
Yeah. Channel 27 News and Entertainment, Grant County. Make sure it's the one that says Grant County on the end. I got another
am
one that
getting
says
it
my
right
backup
now.
page.
so we were talking about mainstream and unknown sports icons. Who would be your two?
Off the top of my head, none. Maybe Kaepernick, maybe. But I don't know if what he did really raised enough awareness. I understand that he stood, for unity, kneeling and everything, but I don't know if what he did actually changed anything. I know what
Okay.
he tried to do, but I don't know if it was effective.
So would that be your mainstream or your unknown?
I don't know. I didn't think about none of that. I was just told to think about four people that had changed everything, changed a lot.
Well, we
And
all
I don't
picked
know
Michael
if-
Jordan.
Hell no. Sorry if I'm allowed to. If I wouldn't. No, absolutely not. What he changed for the African American community. Jordan don't give back to the African American community, and he owns part of the jails, the private jails and prisons. Let me take jails out of it. He owns private prisons. So he profits off of what black folks go through coming in and out of prison. No, absolutely not. I would not.
So
be
did not
Michael
know that. Thank you. I had no clue.
What we're here for, knowledge, guys, knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Rashard.
Muhammad Ali was picked.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
He stood for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially like when he didn't want to go to the Vietnam War. And I understood that. Why in that time send a black man over to Vietnam to fight for this country, possibly lose his life, injure himself, come back with all that Agent Orange stuff. And then when he gets back to this country, he still got to fight for his rights. That don't make no sense going off
The civil
being
rights
used.
side, yeah.
Yeah. And it just wasn't him. It was a lot of black soldiers back in that time. I won't curse, but went over there to fight for this country and to come back to this country to be called the N-word.
Yes,
Oh
sir.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Rashard, we were talking. Yeah. We were talking a little bit ago about segregation, and that it was myself and Cowboy were talking about it was supposed to have ended, I think, don't hold me to this, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, like around 1968.
Sounds
But-
all right.
But I can remember going to school in my elementary days, and Marion was a very, very divided town. North Marion was all your whites, South Marion was all your blacks. And my first couple years in school, I had only seen one black kid ever. And I can remember there was a little market down the road from our house, and it had a yellow sign on the door that still said colored people could only shop in the store from noon to 6. And man, I as I learned about segregation getting older, I remembered that and I thought it didn't really. My own opinion again. I don't think segregation completely went away till early to mid 80s. You know,
Could be. I mean, yeah, the laws is gone, but yeah, I grew up. I was born in '76, and
my brother was as well.
actually,
Yeah.
I ended up growing up in Brinker Heights, Allen Elementary, Jones Middle School.
But would
At
you
first,
say even then, back then?
I'm getting to it. When
Okay.
when I first started going to school, I was like the only black kid in every class until when Clayton Brownlee closed down. I forget the year. When Clayton Brownlee closed down, then a lot of those students were being bussed out to Allen. Then I started seeing black students and more students that look like me. So yeah, while the law might have been off the books, I just think habit and the way everybody already were segregated things probably took a while for the things to start coming back together.
Yeah. Well, when we moved to the South, Marion, one of the very first black men I met was Curtis McClung, Jr. That is, and his family, legit to this day, is like family to me.
Is that one of the guys that was supposed to come on and was having some problems?
Yeah, he was having some technical difficulties, but I'm sure he's watching and laughing at me right now. But he, to tell you everything that I ever learned in the black culture, I would have to give probably at least 90% of that credit to the McClung family in Marion, Indiana, because Curtis Sr. always acted like a father figure to me. Had no problem scolding me when I needed scolded. And my mother would have backed him in a heartbeat because she knew the McClungs took me in like family.
They came up from the South.
Yeah, I just recently learned that as well. They came up from the South. Yeah. Mississippi, if I recall.
Yep.
Yeah. Maddie McClung, who is the grandmother to Curtis Jr., I can't even tell you how many things that woman taught me. She introduced me to the wonderful world of soul food, which if you don't know what soul food is, do your history because you can't beat it. There are just so many things that I learned through that family and wouldn't trade it for nothing.
That's one of the topics I wanted to touch on was their number one favorite food for it.
My favorite food.
Yeah, your favorite food, like down home, old school favorite food that you absolutely just die for.
Soul food. I got to have some. Now that I'm getting older, baked. I got to have some baked chicken. I got to have some yams, macaroni and cheese, greens, and some cornbread. I mean, that's like automatic. That's a staple.
Nice.
No,
that sounds good.
Collard greens, Kentucky Wonders.
Collard greens is good. I've had that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. The first meal I ever
green beans called Kentucky. They used to have green beans called Kentucky Wonders. My grandfather used to grow. He was from Shuttlesville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
They were wide, and then they just had this taste. It was amazing.
Ooh.
Very first meal I had ever eaten at Maddie McClung's. In fact, I remember it so well, like yesterday. She had the collard greens, but the food I remember the most was the pig's feet.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
it's
delicious.
It's a staple, but I backed off of it for a long time.
You don't like it?
I mean, I was raised on it, but I just know it's just not healthy, man. It's not
like you kind of burned out.
Yeah,
burned out.
My day.
But
Jay, you don't like pig's feet?
Was a lot of the foods, the soul foods, are not that healthy. It's good, but
it was delicious.
I mean, when you look at our culture, we're predispositioned for high blood pressure, high cholesterol because of the type of food that we've eaten over the years. It's within our culture.
And then you got to think of why we ate them. You know, we were fed
I was just getting ready to
scraps.
go to that. Yeah.
As slaves, we was, you know, pig foot.
Yep.
That's not the prime
That's all
part
we
of the
had.
pig. Pig foot,
Yep.
chitlins, that get thrown to the
Chitlins,
slaves.
cosmos, the
So
ears.
that's why we
Chitlins,
started
yeah.
eating all that stuff to begin with. And then come to find out, like, you know, I'm getting up
Yep.
there. I'm almost 50. So I got to watch what I eat now. And, you know, a lot of that stuff is the first thing on the list to go. That's, like my man said, it's not healthy for us.
I did not know that. I'm
Because
glad to
I
learn.
feel you. I'm
So
61, and there's a lot of things that I just can't eat anymore that I used to. Just regular stuff. It's even actually kind of for you because my system. The older you get, and you start reading and you start looking at stuff that like Scheherazade Ali used to go around and show of bacon, because we all thought that as long as you cook pork and bacon that you would kill all the parasites. Not true. The parasites are still on there. You can't kill it, and we're putting all that stuff in our sick. And like Mr. Tyson said, what we were given, what we were allowed to eat, so we had to make do. And that's why as a culture we're resourceful. We'll do what we need to do, even though it wasn't always the best choices, but we had to make the choices of what we were given.
We were so used to working with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about you guys talking about that is I have several friends that live in the Philippine Islands. In fact, one of them watching the show right now. And as I've gotten to know some of them, some of the dishes they make are from the organ meat as well. And as I've gotten to know them and talk to them, they say kind of the same thing. It's just that, you know, it's what's there. You know, it's survival of the fittest. And I'm very into the Philippine culture. I've studied it since I was young, and I don't even know how some of those survive the way they do on the minimal incomes they do, and the minimal rations they get for food. Just goodness.
So
Yeah.
I gotta ask. I don't know
See,
if you guys.
if you're raised and you started.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying if you're raised in that, and you're born and raised, it's just an automatic to be able to be a survivor. That's why I used to talk about when I was younger. I was used. My brother went to Ohio State, and while I was there were two people who jumped off the flowers because they got bad grades, or they couldn't. They didn't know how they were going to pay for the next semester. They were both, Caucasian. One was Caucasian, one was Asian, and it's like we're resourceful. We're not going to jump off a building because it's hard, and that's the downfall. My grandfather used to say, "Don't come home talking you didn't get this or get that because you were black." He goes, "You're gonna have to work twice as hard. That's the way of life." He goes, "But the upside is it's going to make you better." I don't want to hear that mess. My grandpa had a 6th grade education and moved from Tennessee to Dayton, Ohio, 65 cents an hour. Owned both houses that he lived in, owned them with a 6th grade education. So I don't, have doors been slammed in my face? Yes. Have I been discriminated against? Yes. You know what? The one thing I did learn, God wants me to be somewhere, can't nobody stop it. But I'm not going to be like, oh man, I can't do this because I'm black. And
we've been trained.
None of that's really going to change to where it's supposed to be until God just comes back.
Yes.
But just because that's the way it is, and doesn't mean I'm going to give up. I'm going to keep on, and I'm going to keep getting better and better and better. It's no different than trying to try out for a sports team. You make it the first year, you practice and you try harder until you can get it. And if you never did it, then I look at it even me from heartache.
I think some of that's been taken away from.
Go ahead, brother.
Like the sports, you know what I mean? A lot of that's been taken away. Everybody gets to play now, which I think that's bad. That's taken away a lot of the competitiveness that our kids need growing up. But to double back on what you were saying, that's how we were trained. I might have been like the last generation. Like I said, I'm just going to touch 50, but heard that my whole life. Boy, you got to work twice as hard because you're black.
But,
were
you know,
twice as hard.
gentlemen, what I'd like to add to that is
Yep.
I think that's why I wanted to do this show so much, is because I know the struggles that I have witnessed the Black community go through. And I think we as little people have encountered a lot of that as well, whether it was discrimination on getting a job. Obviously, it doesn't matter how many applications I've sent the NBA, they keep refusing me, and I don't know why.
You just ain't got the skills, Chris.
They said my block game sucks.
Yeah, dude, you ain't got skills at all anyway.
Yeah, they say my
bro,
block
they're all
game
a bunch of
sucks.
hypes.
But
They're all a bunch of hypes, man. Don't worry about it.
yeah. But I mean, it's there've been several situations that I've walked into like that, whether it was getting a job or whatever, and walked away and knew I was being discriminated against. And I can remember on many, many occasions, family members or friends, hey, go sue them. Go for what? So then it's all over the paper, and then it's just a little bit more humiliating. I don't want to get the job because they were forced to give it to me. I don't want to get the spot on the ball team because they were forced to give it to me. I want to get it because I earned it. You know, and like going back to Raj is sorry, Cowboy. I keep calling him my real name. Cowboy is one of my former bosses. You came in a little late on, but he was one of my former bosses, and he is somebody I've always looked up to as an inspiration because, again, like you said, he had the deck stacked against him on several occasions that even I got to witness, but conquered. You know, it wasn't about, hey, I'm not going to get this position. He went from an officer to a major in the police force that we worked on together. And like we talked about, at one point was even a boss of mine. But I watched him move up those ranks and have people that you were pretty sure would have beat him out. And it wasn't because they were better qualified. And he didn't care. Conquered and defeated. So I can even say, that was something he instilled.
Well, see, there's a lot of things, Chris, too, that I think that as far as Black men that we do is we catch it from everybody, even our own. We catch it at work, we catch it in the work. It's even said by everybody, not all, but even some of our women that we ain't no good. We're not good fathers. We're not this, and we just make babies. We don't work and all that kind of stuff. And it's been put out there for years. I'm talking 50 plus years until the numbers came out to show that we are the best fathers in the different categories of difference. We came in first when it came time to spending time with our kids, going to school with them, doing their homework, going to sports events. And that was whether we lived home or we were separated. We never married the moms. And the few categories that we did come in first, we came with like a 0.2, a 0.3. 54% of single men are childless. 30% are married to or with their baby's mom. So that thing of we just make babies and don't take care of our kids, that's not true either. But it's thrown on us. So sometimes we have to fight the world, and sometimes we got to come home and fight, all because of the stigma, because it's already been proven that back in slavery time and in Jim Crow, if every 4 out of 5 Black families had a father, why is it now that there's only 1 out of 5 Black families has a father in the home? So we've had to overcome the negative pain against us to hold on to our families, to try to keep our families intact. And this is before this stuff has been pounced ever since social media came out, that we have to fight and have to struggle to prove that we're being put out, because we've already proven that anything you put us in, we're going to excel. And that's whether we can read or not. And so now that we have social media, we can now be able to speak up and say, hey, all this stuff that's been told about us is a bunch of lies. so that, you know, because we all know if there ain't no father in the home, that family is not going to flourish.
That's
Now,
right.
granted, a woman can raise a boy, but she can't like a man can. And
Well,
so
I
you've
would-
got the campaign and you've got the insight to say, hey, let's go ahead and take daddy out of the home. Because in welfare in Section 8, they'll give you all money, but the father has to leave. But when the farmers have a bad crop on their section, they get federal funding, but daddy ain't got to.
I didn't know that.
Daddy can stay.
I have never heard that. Wow.
Man, that was something that would, and I remember having this conversation with my mother. That's the reason why, it was one of the defining reasons why when she divorced my biological father and eventually met and married my stepdad, is that she said because she knew, first of all, she knew that the only way for her to raise a young man, you know, to be an actual man of some use in the world, she had to put another man in my face. So kudos for her knowing that part. And then on top of that, she said, it was such a deep statement when she said it. She said she was not going to let the ideals of some random white woman, and this is her words directly, of some random white woman telling me that in order for me to be able to get benefits for me and my son, I can't be with nobody. I can't have it. She was like, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So she had a job, married a guy who had a good job, didn't quit her job because she knew that if she, because my dad really wanted to stay at home. My stepdad, he really wanted to stay at home. Actually, both of them, my biological and my stepdad, they both wanted stay-at-home wives. And my mom was fully for that. Mm-hmm. But she knew that coming into this era that we are in now, there's no way that they could do it with one income. There was no way it could be done that way. Right. You know, as far as she knew, because once again, this is an era of Black parents who didn't know financial stuff. They can't teach that to me. All they know is pay bills, get money, pay bills, get money, pay bills. That's all they knew. So that's what they taught me. Hell, I was damn near in my 40s before I realized that learn how to invest, how to work the banks and all that stuff like that. I'm almost 50 also, you know. So it's like I'm just now learning how all this stuff works. I should have been knowing this in my 20s, you know. But neither here nor there. That's a whole other discussion altogether. So when we talked about that, my mom, she really hammered it home, and then later on, I did my own research, of course, but she hammered it home. It's like she doesn't understand why. She understands why women have children and they're not with the fathers. And she goes, but baby, a lot of times that ain't the man's fault. If you ain't want to have no baby with this man, you could have kept your legs closed, baby. You could have made him put on protection. He really wants you. He gonna put that protection on. And the more I thought about myself, like, yeah, if the girl said, oh no, we can't do, ain't no love, no glove. Oh, I want this action. I'll put a glove on, you know. And if a girl closes her legs, like, no, I don't get down like that. We, you know what I'm saying, that ended up becoming a thing. Or, you know what I'm saying, we find out later on that the only attraction we had was the physical. We move forward. So when, like you said, when you go back and look at all the times they said, oh, men are dogs, and especially when it came to us, men are dogs, we ain't this, we ain't that, we ain't trying to. It was all a falsity because I didn't feel that way. My father didn't feel that way. My stepdad didn't feel that way. None of my uncles felt that way. None of the Black people that were close to me. I know a lot of Black people, guys, and none of us really felt that way. I'm not saying that some guys didn't have baby moms and stuff like that, but they had internal issues that they never worked out before. Now we're here in this day and age now, but we're more in the future. We've got social media, we've got outlets to other kinds of therapy. There's books out, there's people talking to each other, stuff like that. And now in the Black community, once again, I think we're like 1,000 years too late. We're coming together, but there's still those stigmas that are in there because some folks just don't know how to let go. I tell Black women all the time, like, hey, man, if you want your brother to act a certain way, you have to act accordingly. If you're not willing to act accordingly, whatever you guys are doing, stop now before it gets ugly. And now you got to do a bunch of stuff. And no one listens to the kid. And now what happens? We got another brand new baby mom situation, and the dude, all he wants to do is be around his kids, and he will endure you to be with his kids. And that's the, you know what I'm saying? And that's the breakdown. And that's what was different between now and you go back to, and I'll say it, I've said it before and I say it again, back in the civil rights times, even though the stuff surrounding us was horrible, our black family unit was at its strongest. You couldn't get a man to say, I'm leaving my babies. You couldn't get that. You know, that wasn't a thing. Like that. You know what I'm saying? And if you left and you went to your mama's house and be like, I can't do it, mama. But you made them babies. They need a daddy. Get your butt back over there, boy.
That's right. That's right.
And you listen to mama and you listen to daddy. And you right back over there. Yeah. Go back over there and you handle that. You know what I'm saying? Now in this new day and age, mama, I can't do it. Well, come on in the house then, baby. What? No. Send me back to his house so they can work that out.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's my deal.
Oh, beautiful, man. And actually, the whole time you were explaining those kind of mamas, I was visioning Maddie McClung during that. Big shout out for those of you watching. Maddie McClung was definitely a big icon in my world growing up. And she had that kind of attitude that you just described, Jay, that, you know, you walked in, even I, because of the handicap in my life, I'd walk in and have that attitude of I can't. And that woman looked me square in the face. What? Just go do it. I don't want to hear I can't. Go do it. Playing basketball. When I first moved to South Side for obvious reasons, I did not play basketball. But, you know, if you're in a black dominant culture, you're going to learn quick, you know.
You go get out there, yeah.
Yeah. And so all my then friends, they got me where I was shooting the 3-pointer because nobody blocked me out there very, very much. And I got where I wouldn't say I was great at it, but I could definitely shoot a 3-pointer and learned the game of basketball, which then became my favorite sport. But I can remember looking at her and saying, I just can't do this. I'm not tall enough. I don't have the arm strength. I just can't do it.
Yeah. So that's when they brought the Fisher Price, you know, the little.
Yeah, that's when they came out with a little five
made him so special so he can slam dunk it
off of a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're gonna help you here. We're gonna make you feel special, little man.
We're gonna get you dunking in no time, bro.
But yeah, I never heard she would never let me say I couldn't do something. And yeah. Well, guys, we wrap up today. What a great show this was, man. I said before we aired this or put it together that this was going to be my favorite piece to put together. Yeah. And it genuinely was. I thank you both for coming in and hanging out with us. Rashard, I know you're out there watching. Thank you for coming in and joining us while you could. Sorry for your minor technical difficulties and other appointments. But gentlemen, thank you for joining us for a little bit of coffee. And since we don't have Pappy this week, he's on vacation. As a wrap-up life lesson, I would just like to say for those listening, man, you've heard us as the little people talk about our handicaps in life and discriminations we went through, and as well our friends that have joined us today. Just remember, man, each of us are battling something, whether it's height, collar, mental illness, physical illness, whatever it be. We all are handicapped in some direction of life, and we're not called to sit there and point it out and find every reason to downplay it. Instead, pick your brother up and help them to work around the handicap.
I wanted to bring up something real quick. Two people that brought white and black people together a lot, and I don't think it was their reasoning for doing it. I think it was just their love for music. Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons.
And I also want to mention Diane Gingrich. Diane Gingrich had mentioned Ben Carson as one of the very influential black people. Was he the former? Was he the Surgeon General for Trump on the first round? I cannot remember. Health.
Well, they made him something else outside of what his specialty was, but I can't remember.
It was the HUD specialist.
Yes, HUD.
Yeah. But yeah,
he should have been over the medical.
I couldn't agree more. I think the reason then, though, was just that nobody knew what the Trump presidency was going to be that first time. So everybody's like, no, don't think I'm going to be one of your guys, you know. And you know, where like he was saying this time when he won, everybody lined up, you know. So anyway, gentlemen, great show, great
Well,
time.
Mr. Coldwater, with your industry, man, I just want to let you know I'll be praying for your success. Stay healthy, because I know living out of suitcases in hotels is not the healthiest. I've always admired entertainers, but stay healthy, and I'll be praying for your safety.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
As
that.
well, you both have an open invitation to join us any other time in the future. And with that, we sign off and thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you guys for having me.
It was nice
All right.
meeting you guys.
See you later.
Peace, everybody.